Hi guys, and welcome to part 2 of my Primal Carnage Extinction videos, covering the two teams in Primal Carnage Extinction. The last video looked at the dinosaur classes, and in this video we're looking at the human classes. This is the same map, same game type as before, get to the chopper, and I think this map is called Ruthless. I incorrectly called it Snowbound in the last one, but I'm pretty sure this map is called Ruthless. It's a snowy remake of a map that was in the previous original Primal Carnage, but yeah, so the human classes aren't in as good a state as the dinosaur classes currently are. In general, they feel very poorly balanced and underpowered. As you can see here, I'm playing the Pyro. Pyro is one of the easier, more powerful classes to play in Primal Carnage. Before you used to have grenades. In this, pretty much everything is revolving around fire, which makes sense, but instead of having grenades, you now have Molotovs, and you also have a secondary weapon now, which is your flare, which is basically you just shoot it at a dinosaur and it puts fire on them. So it's kind of good for being able to catch dinosaurs retreating at range. If perhaps they're low on health, they're trying to run off and get some food, you know, use your flare to keep the fire on them, so hopefully that's ticking on them while they're running away, trying to feed up again. But the flamethrower itself just feels far too weak. The actual direct damage of it is way too low, so it takes ages to actually kill something. I stood for about 20 seconds, 25 seconds shooting a T-Rex directly with a flamethrower, and it wasn't killing it. It shouldn't take that long. If you're shooting something directly like this, these guys should be dying a lot quicker. We're just getting swarmed. I mean, that's way too long to actually kill something with a flamethrower. So I do think the flamethrower needs a bit of a buff. The trapper is, I mean, it's good and bad. We have a new ability in the trapper in that they can lay mines now. But the problem is these can't. They're kind of difficult to see as a human, so, and they do damage to friendly players, so as a teammate you can run over someone else's mines and die, which is kind of annoying because I think I mentioned in the previous video, the Dilophosaurs, as they create those poison pools, they don't harm other dinosaurs, so it's kind of imbalanced in that respect. You have to be very careful around trappers. The pistols feel very underpowered too. They still have the same sort of quite high range they had before, but the damage on them is just so low, and the fire rate is a lot slower than it was before. You can't just sort of spam pistols to really put loads of shots in, which is a shame. I kind of liked doing that, and they were quite effective at range. I think they need to really buff the pistols' damage considerably. The other thing is they've gotten rid of melee abilities for most of the human classes, as far as I can tell. Some people think they can melee, and I've been told, oh, you do this, they can melee. As far as I'm aware, they cannot melee. I cannot find any details in the keybinds section, in the menu, the keybinds menu, sorry, that would tell you how to melee. I've tried every single button I can think of, no melee, which is a little bit annoying, especially as a trapper, because you net a dinosaur and then you slash it and it saves ammo. Whereas now you actually have to shoot it to kill it, and other people can often kill it before you're able to. So you can see here we're just getting absolutely swarmed. The Commando just feels like it's just not really doing anything. The machine gun just doesn't have much weight to it, and I think they need to reduce the spread a little bit as well, because it's way too inaccurate. I mean, I wouldn't be called dead with that sort of weapon. It's just the spray on it is ridiculous. So reduce the spread, increase the damage a little bit. The Commando was actually in a really good place when Extinction launched. It's just they've nerfed it into the ground since then, or so it feels. So yeah, Commando definitely needs a buff, because that's sort of the go-to class of the humans if you're not really sure how to play them. And the grenade launcher is underpowered compared to how it was in the previous Primal Carnage. Just barely does any splash damage now. I know it was slightly overpowered before, but now it's not very useful at all. So here you can see I'm just sort of showing all the different skins you can get, and all of the different items that you can use. There's the chance that you'll be able to have different support and secondary weapons. but mostly it's just different skins that have been added in at the moment. So it's mostly cosmetic changes so far. The Pathfinder is okay compared to the other classes. Shotgun damage is pretty high at close range, but it drops off pretty steeply as targets get further away. And the fire rate is so slow on them that obviously, you know, the shotgun is going to be a bit slower compared to other weapons, but it just feels very ineffective, especially when something's going at quite a speed, which obviously many of the dinosaurs in this game are. I should also add, while I remember, that since the last patch, apparently, well, in an upcoming patch, the human speed is going to be reduced, so there's going to be an even bigger gap between the speed of humans and the speed of the dinosaurs. You know, Primal Carnage is a fast-paced game, so you have to kind of expect that the dinosaurs are going to really swarm you and be quick, and that's always been kind of enjoyable. But it feels too extreme, and the difference just feels really unfair at the moment. So I'd definitely say that the humans need to be fixed in that respect. It is possible to play third person as a human now, by the way. I think it's just the X button. But it's a bit buggy. The humans don't have animations that are really designed for, you know, third person view, so it just looks rubbish. But I'm assuming they'll clean that up a bit as the game goes on. They're working on first person and balancing and stuff like that, the actual important stuff, before the extra little options like third person get put in. So the Pyro isn't awful by any stretch of the imagination, but the damage it puts out is way too low for what it should be. I've always thought that the Pyro should be more of a tanky sort of class, getting in the thick of it, you know, getting stuck in there along with the Commando. But at the moment, it's just, it doesn't feel like it's hitting hard enough, and that's the same story with most of the human classes. The Scientist, the damage on the Sniper is still really good. The problem is that the scope is absolutely awful, and I find it very difficult to actually take out things at range now, because everything moves so quickly and the scope isn't very good at keeping up with them, I don't think. Now you can say, oh well, that's just down to you not knowing how to use it. I was perfectly fine with the scope in Primal Carnage. I was able to get Pteranodons out of the air and it felt effective, it felt like a sniper rifle should feel. Whereas now it feels like it's actually better to hip fire with a sniper, which really shouldn't be the case. You shouldn't be hip firing with a sniper rifle. Here you can see what the scope's like. It just, yeah, you can see I just resorted to hip firing there. I don't know, it just, it doesn't feel quite right to me, the sniper rifle. There's something not quite right with how the scope feels to me, but I don't know, maybe it's just something I need to get used to, but I'm pretty sure it needs fixing somehow. Can't quite put my finger on it, but it needs sorting. But in general, the human classes just are not doing nearly as good as the dinosaurs at the moment. They just tend to end up getting swarmed. The problem is that humans really have to stick together in order to survive. You have to move as one, and the problem is that dinosaurs can move so quickly and can swarm a group so much quicker than humans can, and it's a lot more difficult for humans to recover and stay alive, that once a group of humans does manage to get together, they're picked off so quickly, and then obviously they have to get back from the respawn. It's so difficult to actually stay in a group and hold your ground, whereas before, you know, you could lock somewhere down. If you were a tight, cohesive group, you could really keep it together, whereas now the dinosaurs just have so much of an advantage that, especially the Carnos, the Carnos are probably one of the more dangerous dinosaur classes at the moment, because they can just charge in and do shitloads of damage. So yeah, I'm not happy with where the humans are at the moment, but the one thing I've got to remind everyone is that this game is in early access. There are going to be balancing issues, there are going to be bugs and all sorts of problems. That's the way of things. And so far they've been pretty decent at picking things up and fixing them as they go. So hopefully the humans do get a bit of a buff and they sort out some of the problems with the dinosaurs. In particular, the Dilophosaur needs a little bit of a buff. That's the only dinosaur class that I would say does. Anyway, that's my video on the humans in Primal Carnage Extinction. I'll have more videos coming up soon. Hope you enjoyed it. If you got any questions, write them in the comments below. Cheers.